Happy day, everybody, and welcome back to Mortgage Talk with Mark. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have my guest on today. He's going to introduce himself in just a minute. And we met this man about 2 weeks ago. I've recently re-engaged in a ministry, a Christian-based ministry called Kairos, which is a prison ministry. And I did it several years ago and decided to come back into a group of men who are going to put on a retreat in a maximum security prison in Gatesville in April. And before that, we meet several times. And the leader of our team is a guy named Billy Odom. And I met Billy a few weeks ago at our first meeting and was so impressed with him and his life experiences and his commitment to this ministry. I wanted to bring him on the show because I thought it was very relative for people to understand what's going on in some of these prison ministries, particularly this one called Kairos. So welcome, Billy.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome, because we met briefly the other day, and I've heard you talk about several times about your life and what's going on, and I'm excited to be on this team too. Okay, and I know we're going to meet again this weekend, and prepare further for our retreat in April. Yes. And so the title of this ministry is called Kairos,
right? And
it's been around a long time.
Yes.
You said since the 70s, I think.
Yes, I believe so. From Florida.
From Florida originally?
Yes, and it was just 7 old guys getting together to go to prison.
Yeah,
and volunteer from different backgrounds and
to bring the good word.
Absolutely, share the gospel.
Share the gospel. Amen. So, explain a little bit what the word Kairos means. You told me, sure. I didn't know that.
The term Kairos is a Greek word, and it means God's time, like right now.
Okay.
And we see that as when we do go into the prisons and talk to these guys, they are having an opportunity to hear, maybe for the first time in their life, a clear presentation of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
It's not just one church represented.
No, not at all. We're an ecumenical group.
Yeah.
Every kind of church background you can imagine.
Right. Which is a beautiful thing, actually.
It is. And, that really speaks to some of these guys. They'll look at us, and I've been asked by them, how do you guys get together? Some of you are Baptists, some of you are Catholics, some of you are Protestant.
Pentecostals, whatever.
Pentecostals. Yeah. How does this work? And I just say, we leave it outside.
Yeah.
We just deal with Jesus and you guys.
We're on the same page on that deal for sure. And I love that part,
Me too.
Because
Me too.
There's obviously distinctions between different faiths, and we don't go into that.
Yeah.
We just talk about Jesus and bringing the good word and the good gospel to these men who my experience, which is only one time. I've only done this one time. This will be my second time come April, but you've done it several times.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your experiences and for somebody who's never heard of Kairos, talk about what happens inside the prison a little bit.
Okay.
And why it's so effective. If it's been going on for 50 years, it's got some meat to it,
Yeah, at the prison that we're going to, it's called the Hughes Unit here in North Texas. And this is the 27th year that Kairos will be going in. And then we do it twice a year. And this will be Kairos 54. And I've been asked to be the leader. I hope they know what they're getting into. But
it's all good.
Yeah. And it's a humbling experience. We go into the prison after we've had 4 training sessions over a period of about 5 or 6 weeks. And we want to make sure everybody's prepared. People will be giving speeches and talks, and we'll have a lot of sharing and talking with these people, a lot of interaction. And we bring cookies. Everybody that comes is supposed to bring 1,200 cookies.
100 dozen cookies
each.
I better start baking now, man.
Yeah. And if you want to bring your wife, that's 2,400.
Woo!
So my wife and I do that together. It's a ministry at home. We do cooking together and praying over the cookies also.
Yeah.
But when you give cookies to an inmate, it opens a door a lot of times. But we also
breaks down barriers.
Absolutely. And we don't just give them to the inmates. We also bring enough for the guards, for the staff,
the warden,
all of them.
Everybody.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And we have meals made, prepared. We're split up into 2 groups. We have the inside, which would be all male.
Right.
And then we have the outside, we call them outside support team. And my wife works on that with some of the other ladies and some men too,
Mhm.
that are volunteers. It's a group of about 12 of us outside that get together and make the meals
Mhm.
and have them brought inside the prison and stuff. The rest of us are working, greeting these guys as they come in and make them feel like rock stars when they
Right.
come in.
Right.
And we pair them up with people and have greeters there with them and assign them table projects. Like after they listen to a talk, we'll have them, hey, we want you to get together and interact with the other people at your table. And
Mhm.
there's 6
Mhm.
inmates at a table.
Yeah. And there's
And
like
there-
6 or 7 tables, as I recall.
yeah,
And
there's 7 tables and
yeah.
there's 6.
There's 2 or
in-
3 guys from the outside on a table, and then maybe 5 or 6 of the
Yeah.
inmates there.
We
Yeah.
call the guys that are inside, we call them men in white.
Men in white.
And the volunteers, there's 3 at a table. But we'll have them do posters and then do a presentation as a group.
Mhm.
Some of these guys, if they don't come to Kairos, they probably never would talk to each other.
Right.
But this breaks down barriers, and
Yeah.
and we're looking forward to not only sharing the gospel, but having these guys become great friends and brothers in Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just a one-time thing. It's a long weekend, as I recall.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I only did it one time in 2019. I was going to re-up in 2020, then COVID hit,
Yeah.
which shut it down. And then it was on my heart to re-engage with this. I'm so glad I did, because it was
Me
such a
too.
powerful weekend for me. I didn't speak, I didn't give a talk the first time around, but I was at a table, and it really changed me
Yeah.
too. And I think that's one of the reasons men like us do it, because we also are changed.
Absolutely.
Our hearts are changed, and we become more humble and Christ-like, if you will.
Yeah, we should serve people.
Yeah.
And this is a good way to serve. Jesus said, if you've done service to the least of these, my brothers, when he's talking to the sheep and goats, is in Matthew chapter 25, I believe it is. He says to the sheep on his right hand side, he said, enter into the kingdom because I was hungry and thirsty and you came and saw me. He said, I was in prison and you visited me.
Yeah.
And they said, when did we see you hungry or thirsty? Or when did we visit you and you're in prison?
Right.
He says, if you've done it to the least of these, my brothers,
you've done it to me.
You've done it to me.
Amen.
So we take that seriously.
It's very powerful.
Absolutely.
It's not an overnight thing. It's a 3 or 4 day process.
Yeah.
And it builds on each other, like you say. And by the end of the weekend, these men are changed. In my experience, they're transformed into new beings.
And we get changed along the way too.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Powerful. So, tell us about from your experience or your opinion, if nothing else. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that most people on the outside, living their normal lives, going to have a family, going to work, misconceptions they have about inmates?
Well, for one thing, is some people think once a person's gone to prison for whatever reason it is that, well, they got exactly what they deserve.
Mhm.
And in most cases, that's true.
Mhm.
But they're not over the edge where they can't be redeemed.
Right.
And that's the whole purpose of prison ministry anyway, is to reach people who have been pretty much tossed out of society.
Mhm.
When I was an inmate
Mhm.
back in
You served some time, you said?
yeah, I served 10 years inside the
Okay.
prison and 5 years on paper.
Okay.
When I got out, I felt discarded from
Sure.
society. I lost my family.
Mhm.
I lost my job,
Mhm.
our cars, the house we were in,
All gone.
and lost my family. And that's just me. Now you multiply that by like 100,000 plus people in the Texas prison system, and that's not counting other states. That's just here.
Just Texas.
There's a lot of people who just feel like I have no one else that even cares.
Yeah.
So that's a good reason to go in
Yeah.
and reach them.
Yeah. Of course, you have a little more personal experience than I would from from that perspective, because my experience growing up, having never been in prison per se, made a lot of mistakes in my life. Believe me, So I've had my own prison, if you will, emotionally and psychologically.
Yeah.
But I've always thought I've always been very judgmental about people in prison. you know.
Oh, yeah. So was I.
Yeah.
You
It's
wind
like,
up there.
yeah.
You wind up there and you think, well, I guess I was a little bit wrong in some things. You know, you don't throw away the key.
Yeah.
Where is the key? I'd like to get out of here one day.
Yeah. Yeah. You also don't throw the baby out with the bathwater either,
Absolutely.
because, you know, therefore the grace of God go I, if you will,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when I got at this table with these guys for several days, you know, I really figured out they weren't that much different than me,
Yeah.
really. You know, they
And
made
that's true.
mistakes that maybe I didn't make.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, they're humans and they're a child of God, and
Yes.
they need to be reminded of that, because I don't think
Absolutely.
that's probably presented too well in prison, generally speaking. So that's where Kairos comes into play,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah.
And they have a formula that's working because they've been doing it so long. Like you say, even in this prison we're going into, this is the 54th time.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
54
This
or
is
59?
Kairos 54.
Yeah.
Yes. Two
Yeah.
times a year for 27 years. I just wanted to say that the guys that you sat next to in there at first, the first day you're there, it's a 3.5 day weekend.
Yeah.
We stay at a hotel locally. We work out of a church that's nearby who lets us put together our cookies, get the food together, all that stuff. But as we go in, these guys that are sitting next to you, they're like stiff. They're like, oh man, I don't know if I can trust those other guys in white, and here's these guys in street clothes, and they think they're better than me.
Right.
But by the second or third day, these guys have got their arms around you, and
we're
they're like
friends.
Hey, brother. Hey, you know, it's like, hey, this is great. Hey, give me some more of that food you're serving.
Yeah. My experience is they probably come in, they hear about the good food.
Yeah, they
because
do.
they're fed well.
Oh yeah.
You know, for those several days.
Absolutely.
And then they say, well, I want to go to check that place out. You know,
yeah.
but there's something else. There's some magic happens in there. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, something came to my mind. My wife has a favorite story I'd like to share.
Sure.
It's okay. There was a guy who was sitting at a table, and they served a lot of fresh fruit on the table. And he grabbed a huge strawberry, and he takes it over there, and he's just staring at
Looking at it.
He's getting really emotional, and he eats that strawberry. And he told one of the guys that was visiting, he's one of our guys, not one of the brothers in white. He said, this is the first strawberry I've eaten in over 20 years.
Wow.
You know, we take that stuff so for granted.
Oh my gosh.
And when you realize that a strawberry can bring tears to a man who's in there for only God knows what.
Sure.
And the kindness of somebody giving him
a strawberry
for free.
Yeah.
For free. And we all have to pay our own way there, you know,
right.
The hotel accommodations, the contributions for the inmates to be able to join us and stuff. So, and they realize this is coming out of love.
Yeah, we're not being paid to go do this.
No,
this is not a paid gig. This is a ministry. We actually pay to do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, and in Austin, speaking of the strawberries or food in general, you know, a few weeks ago we had a freeze in Austin. I made it down to HEB, and they were sold out of so much stuff. I was almost offended by that. I said, where's my food I wanted to get, you know? So I'm thinking about somebody like that who's never had a strawberry in 20 years.
Yeah.
That's wild. And then before the show, you also shared a story of a gentleman who talked about, you know, his daughter.
Yeah.
You know, can you just talk about what happens sometimes to men?
Sure. When we go to our churches with the ministry needs, we ask the Sunday school teachers who teach kids to make placemats, and what they are is like this big sheet of
11
paper
by 17 or something.
Yeah, it's that size, and it's usually little children who will do an outline of their hand or draw a picture of a boat.
And usually 6 or 7 years old or something.
Or younger in some cases.
Yeah.
But this one guy in particular, he was a very standout guy because he was huge. He was just a big guy. And he was sitting at a table, and he put his hand over this little outline of a hand on that placemat. And when he looked up, there's just tears coming out of his eyes, and someone asked him, what's the matter? And he said, when I put my hand on this girl put her name there, and her age was 7 years old. He said, when I came here, my daughter was 7, and I've been here 12 years. And he said, it's like that. It's gone, you know, and excuse me.
No, I get it.
Anyway,
makes you want to cry.
Yeah. You know, we see that a lot. That was just one.
Yeah.
One that of many. And can I share another
Oh,
one?
absolutely.
We do a thing called a prayer chain, and we put it around the room. We ask people at churches to pray for certain blocks of time.
Yeah.
And they're on strips of paper.
Yeah,
They say
Saturday
the
at 3
day, the
o'clock or
time,
whatever.
and we have
Yeah.
slots, and we make a ring around it. And
It's a beautiful thing.
and it's all different colors and
wow,
stuff.
Yeah.
And they put it around the room, and it's a pretty good size auditorium type
Sure.
thing. And it sometimes goes 2 times and then some. And one guy in particular, I can remember, he was just, we had a little downtime, and he walked over there, and out of the clear blue, he's reading who bought this, to who was praying for him at that time. He said, "That was my ex Sunday school teacher. Her name is on here. And he's from some bohunk town here in Texas."
Wow.
It's like, how
What a
in the
miracle.
world? I know.
That's a miracle.
Things like that happen all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the end of the weekend, men are changed. A lot of them are weeping about something that happened during the weekend, something they've experienced, spiritually, or psychologically or emotionally, and the men inside too.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm coming back. And I mentioned that even in our first meeting, that I'm kind of doing this on a selfish reason too, because I want to experience that too. That grace.
Absolutely.
And speaking of grace, what is your experience around how the gospel may land differently inside the prison than it does when you're in the pews at church? What's your experience there? How this lands for people, how these talks land?
Well, that's a very good question. When we go inside prison, sometimes it's not what you say.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how you are. Mm-hmm. That really touches a person's life, because have you ever heard that old saying, "What you do speaks so loud,
oh, sure,
I can't hear a word you're saying." Well, these guys are in a fishbowl.
My wife mentions that to me quite often.
She's getting you straight. Huh?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
That's right.
I got a woman like that.
Yeah.
So these guys, they are watching everything you do. They're watching how you talk to the guards. They're watching how you talk to each other. Mm-hmm. So if I have a bad relationship and you and I go to visit the prison and we're arguing or something, they can see that.
Sure.
They're not blind. And that speaks to their hearts. And when they see and hear, hey, these guys are from all these backgrounds and stuff, and yet they have a love, and they're talking about the love of God. Mm-hmm. Our saying is, listen, love.
Yeah.
And that means a lot. That means listen twice as much as you speak.
Yeah. And
love people twice as much as you normally would.
Yeah.
And these guys sense it. It's overwhelming sometimes. They need love. Mm-hmm. We all do. Mm-hmm. But some of these guys feel like nobody cares for them anymore. Mm-hmm. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Who cares if I die? Mm-hmm. I knew some guys when I was incarcerated, and I myself had the first 2 years that I was in, I had a desire to, if I couldn't handle it, suicide was an option.
You just check out.
I could check out.
Yeah.
And for 2 years, I lived like that.
Yeah.
And then after
how did you get through that? Was it your faith?
Through reading my Bible and praying to God, and having some Christians come around me. Mm-hmm. I had a Black Christian and a Mexican Christian brother that we would all three fellowship. And the guys in prison were saying, hey, you're not sitting on the white bench. You're not sitting on the black bench.
Right.
You're not sitting on the Mexican bench. No, we're Christians. We sit together.
Christian bench.
And they watched that.
Yeah.
And that's also a testimony. It's a fishbowl in there.
Yeah. Yeah. My brief experience the first time, which was in 2019, I was at a table. And like you mentioned, there's some tension in the room when it first starts.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of checking us out. Like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
And what's they're up to? What are they up to?
Yeah.
But when they see that our hearts are to the good to them, then it doesn't take long for them to relax a little bit and to share and things they may have never told anybody before.
Yeah.
It's not therapy.
No,
it's a spiritual transformation.
Absolutely.
It's really quite astounding. I think everybody should experience this, to be honest with you.
Oh, it would do everybody some good to just have. I don't think prison ministry is for 100% of everybody, but
right.
If you would just go and be a fly on the wall,
right,
you would see that lives change dramatically because of love,
Mm-hmm.
and tangible love, feeding people, taking care of them,
Mm-hmm.
talking to them,
Mm-hmm.
asking them, what can we pray for you about, and praying together. And before that's over with, I think I told you the last Kairos we had was Kairos 53.
Right.
And this was last fall. We had 42 volunteers, men in white, that came and joined us, that were selected by the warden and by the chaplain there.
Yeah.
And out of those 42, by the end of the weekend, 40 of those men made decisions to follow Jesus Christ with their lives. And they made a public declaration of it.
Right.
2 decided not to, and that's okay. We don't force it on anybody.
Sure. We just offer it.
Yeah. And boy, we had
40 out of 42.
40 out of 42.
Amazing.
That's a huge number to turn away, and that's over a weekend to turn their lives
3
around.
or 4 days. And prior to that experience, probably none of them would if you would have asked them.
Absolutely.
Now some of them may have. I don't know, because some of them come from backgrounds where they probably had some church upbringing.
Yeah.
But a lot of them didn't.
Yeah.
And they're experiencing, the heart of God for them that's through us. Which is a beautiful thing. It's astounding.
If you really think about it, Jesus was hands-on everywhere he went. He handpicked people. And what did he do? He would lay hands on a leper. He didn't just speak it.
Right.
Say, oh, you get well. He touched them. He was very personal.
Sure.
And that means a lot to a person, that you go there and when I go on prayer and share, that's like a follow-up that we do once a month. We do once a week, actually, prayer and share. And then we have a second Saturday. When I go in there, I don't even shake hands with people anymore. I'm hugging guys.
Right.
And they're like, man, it's good to see you. God's working this way.
That's right.
It's just such an amazing thing. But our whole thing is, with this weekend, we are setting up these guys to get to know other inmates who have gone through the program.
Sure.
And they kind of come alongside and help them. And they start creating a church atmosphere behind the bars. That's what we're doing with Kairos. It's the weekend is really the beginning.
Right. The
prayer and share and the second Saturdays, that's the follow-up
to
help these guys continue to grow. But I've seen lives change so dramatically. It's just amazing. And I know you're really going to see it too.
I can't wait.
Weekend. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Absolutely.
And so, going back to Jesus, Jesus loved to hang out with the sinners, and number one.
Yeah.
He didn't care anything about the Pharisees. Matter of fact, he would rebuke them half the time. But he understood that, we're hurt people.
Yeah.
Hurt people, if you will.
That's right.
And so we want to change that through Kairos, obviously. And you have for several years, and I'm getting back into it, which I'm really looking forward to it. But let me ask you this question about, if every church, and there's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of churches probably in America, truly understood what happened on this weekend, what do you think would change? We obviously have a prison problem in this country.
Yeah, we do. But well, I have a cheat sheet that I'm just going to refer to.
I want you to reference your notes, because I know you.
Well, I believe that people would support this work, and many more men and women would want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it's one of the best investments that a Christian can make, is supporting people who go to prison. And I get it. We can't all go. There's a couple in my church that are physically not able to go, but they volunteer to make placemats, to make posters, and to even contribute. Even though they're on a limited income, they still want to give. And this is blowing me away. I'm like, out of the little bit that they have, they still want to serve God. And I know there's a lot of people who want to do that. We can't all get in a car and drive to a prison, go inside.
Right.
But like my friend John says all the time, he says, we that go in the prison, we're just the tip of the spear that goes in. The others holding on to the staff, pushing that spear. It's all important. And so I get that. And I just think if they knew more about it, maybe like hearing this, they might say, wow, there's a little bit more to that than I thought there
Absolutely. That's why I wanted you on to share that, because I hadn't heard of Kairos except through some guys at church years ago.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's very well known, in my opinion, because I talk to people all the time. They say, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you for having a heart to want to expose this to other people.
Well, you're welcome. This is fabulous stuff. I mean, this is what we're called to do.
Yeah.
As Christians. And I wouldn't have done this 20 years ago. I was too caught up in myself.
Yeah.
But now it's time I'm at a stage in life where I want to give back as best I can, and this is where I choose to do that.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you on our team.
Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely.
And the gentleman you mentioned a minute ago who had his hand on the paper talking about his daughter, and he's going to be part of the weekend too. Yes.
Yeah, he is, and I've already got it okayed. We have a ceremony at the very end where we allow the inmates to get up and speak as a group.
Sure.
They have one person to represent
At
their
their
table,
yeah.
and then each person can take 2 minutes to share just a little if they want to. I've asked him because I get to pick one person that's really impressed me with their life, that I've got to know, and I can really see God's work in their life. And I get to pick this guy, and I did. I asked him, the one that put his hand on the picture, would you give your testimony and share what God's done in your life at the very end? Because we invite a lot of free world people to come see this.
That's right.
We invite the families of people if they want to come see it. All those inmates are there, and all the people who've gone through the program before them.
Right.
They're all
going
to be there,
auditorium.
and it's a big deal.
Yeah, I was there.
So he's going to speak for 5 minutes and give his testimony.
Wow, that's gonna be great.
And if you could just be, and you will meet him. I'll introduce you.
Yeah,
personally.
absolutely. I look forward to it. We've only got just a few seconds left. One of the things that people can do is give money too.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it
Absolutely.
does cost, you said, around $25,000.
A weekend for all of us comes to about $25,000.
Wow.
Now, but we also break that up with what we bring to the table.
Well, sure.
And what we can.
Sure.
But yeah, and
so there's other opportunities to serve besides going in, like you said.
absolutely.
So I want to leave people with that.
Yeah. And you might be surprised, at how much of a difference it can make. If you sponsored, say somebody at your church that they don't have the money to go, you say, hey, I'd like to take care of yours. I want to invest in your life.
$25.
I had a guy one time, he said, I'm going to pay for yours.
Yeah.
That's what got me in prison ministry. I said, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to take care of it. I'll sponsor you.
Right on.
Change my life.
Well, brother, we are out of time, and I knew it was going to go fast.
It's
I wish we
quick.
had another hour to talk about this, but we've got to go. But I do appreciate it again, and I look forward to being on the team with